Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on when you're listening. But you are listening to. I'm Josh Cole, and I'm joined by Mr. Dave Nichols, all over in Singapore. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, sir. I'm very, very good. Not looking forward to coming back to the cold weather after you told me that it was icy where you are at the moment.
Yes, I am currently in Lancashire at the moment, so yeah, it is pretty cold. And as a Spurs fan in a house full of Burnley fans, it was a bit awkward yesterday, but we'll get onto that in a bit. But how have you been, Dave? You've been well?
I've been good, thank you. Yeah, I've been good. Not too much to report from my end. Our football season's finished down here, so it's just ticking along until Christmas, really. Work's going well.
You going to maintain fitness in the off-season?
Well, I'm coming back to the UK where beer is a hell of a lot cheaper, and I'm going to be eating a lot of Christmas food. So yeah, winter weather training I'll be going for. So,
absolutely, yeah. You got a special food or anything you're looking forward to having? Anything you can't get out in Singapore? Is there anything?
Yeah,
I want a bit of
a roast dinner. I cannot wait to have a cracking roast dinner.
Well, it's perfect time for it because it's Christmas dinner time.
Exactly.
The king of roast dinners.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And yourself, how are you?
Well, yes, very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm currently developing a winter coat, to protect myself from the cold. Tugging into party food whenever I can. Holding off on cheese yet. Cheese will come in a few weeks, but next week. But yeah, I am enjoying the Christmas period. So yeah, looking forward to our Christmas pods, of course, in the coming 10 days.
I was going to say, I don't think we've officially announced what we're doing for it, so the listeners might not know. So go for it.
Yeah. Well, so next week we'll have a pod released on the 23rd of December, covering the games on the 22nd, where Dave, Josh, and we'll have special guest Owen in the studio. We'll all be face to face. It will be very, very peculiar.
I'm so excited. So excited.
Yeah. And then Dave and I will also be releasing a pod on the 27th, covering the Boxing Day's games, and then we may have some more special guests, maybe one, maybe two special guests to join us. But again, all face to face. It's going to be fantastic. We'll be able to see the whites of each other's eyes.
I'll be able to see Josh cry when Spurs have finally dropped out of the top four. It'll be amazing.
You're not sticking around for that long.
That's true. Right then.
Well, hopefully not. Right.
Let's go.
On those massive bombshells, we'll move on to what caught our eye in the news this week. Dave, anything that tickled your fancy?
Yeah, I've got two things, so I'll go for the first one because we've been talking. I'll go for the first one first because obviously that makes sense.
That does, it's logical. It.
We've been talking about it a while. The Copa Libertadores finally happened. So the final was played in Madrid, and River Plate came out with a 3-1 extra time win. You don't hear about extra time wins much in England, do you? You don't. I can try and remember the last time a final in England was won in extra time. It's there's a there you go. Okay, Josh, you love a stat and a quiz question, so go out and find me the answer when I'm back in the UK.
Okay, we'll do.
Otherwise, I'm not. I was going to say I'm not turning up for the pod, but I'm so excited. I definitely would.
Please don't. Please do.
Please don't. All right, I won't. But yeah, so I mean, it was an interesting game. Red card for Boca happened in it as well. There was still a little bit of violence in Madrid, but the police put an end to it pretty sharpish. You didn't hear too much about it, but loads of complaints from South American fans, obviously, as you'd expect, saying it sort of takes the piss and what's it all about. River fans were moaning that they lost their home advantage, but they won anyway. So overall, the game, I've watched highlights of the game, and the game was quite good. The technical football in it was quite good. I was impressed with some of the football that was played. The atmosphere in the stadium was very, very strange. It was like pockets of fans making noise, and then just like a sort of quiet murmur that happened in the background of everybody that was there that was a sort of neutral, like a Spanish person that just turned up for the game. So it was very strange. There was an article in the BBC asking, was it a success? In my opinion, no, it wasn't. It sort of defies the whole point of the Copa Libertadores. But yeah, I mean, it's done now, isn't it? Everyone can sort of close it off. River won it. That's fine. Whatever. Get on with it. Next year, everyone be a little bit more sensible, so it can be played in the home country.
Yeah.
I mean, or the home continent anyway. So
yes, very true. I just had a few things to add. That pick up Quintero's winner, or that was an absolute thronking finish.
Yeah.
He had a very good World Cup actually. Very good for Colombia. I thought it's funny. I was thinking about after seeing him score. I was like, oh, there's a few players in the World Cup who, I kind of just forgot about them since the World Cup and thought they were going to make some big moves. He was one of them, and yeah, it was a lovely finish from outside the box. But probably the best goal scored at the Bernabeu season.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not hard at the moment, is it? So
no. And also, what I enjoyed was the pictures of all of the different footballers from around the world watching. Oh, not around the world, around Europe, who'd kind of congregated at the Bernabeu. So there's photos of Messi, Griezmann, Godin, Dybala, Simeone, Bonucci, Chiellini, Icardi, Zanetti, Oblak, James Rodriguez, Cambiasso. Yeah, many more pictures of them just at the game. It must have been very surreal for those players who may have represented in their career watching them in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all a little bit bizarre, really. I was going to say, I had a feeling sort of like a testimonial when you're reeling off all those people that were in the crowd watching it. It's sort of like that would never happen in normal life because everybody else would be playing football at a similar time.
Yeah, it's so unique, wasn't it? Because different match days and different times congregated into being a special occasion. But it was like an exhibition match. Yeah. Yeah,
it really was. But all in all, it was pretty good. I did read one story about a fan, a Boca Juniors fan, who lives in Barcelona, who paid something like £2,000 to have a 3-day trip to Argentina for the original final day. Went, it got cancelled, flew home, and then paid $180 to see the game anyway at Madrid. So,
oh dear.
Yeah, he was not a happy man.
Oh dear.
And he was a Boca fan, and they lost anyway.
Yeah.
So, all in all, that's a pretty miserable 2 weeks, isn't it?
It's a forgettable fortnight, that one.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, that's done now. Copa Libertadores done. Bring it on next year. The gameplay made me want to think, I wouldn't mind watching the Copa Libertadores a bit in the future. I think it would be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's not available. I don't. In my head for to watch in the UK. Either that or it's not very well advertised. Anything South American.
Football's always available to watch in one way or another.
Yes, in that sense, the legal, kind of easy access sense. But yeah, great. I don't know anything about that. But
no. Yeah. So before I go on to my second point, what's caught your eye in the news?
It was a little bit that caught my ear, actually, Dave.
Okay.
It was Rio Ferdinand and Joe Cole having a little bit of an off-camera chat during the Man City-Chelsea game, I think it was.
Okay.
And so they were chatting, and Rio mentions he said he branded Carl Walker a liability, saying he's. As long as they got him in their side, he's prone to defensive errors. He switched off, and Joe Cole was. Joe Cole went, "Oh, I'm not saying anything, mate, because his mate comes into my gym," and it's like, oh god, kind of really summed up to me how punditry is these days. That you get a few players like Roy Keane and Gary Neville's maybe don't particularly care about their friends off the pitch, but Joe Cole. When's he ever going to offer any kind of criticism if he's afraid of someone's mate coming into a gym where he goes? It's like you don't need that in punditry. You want. It is a bit disrespectful talking about someone behind someone's back. Actually, that's the kind of insight you need. That if you don't think Carl was good enough, don't just nosh him off on camera. Criticise him on camera as well. If you don't do it behind his back, it makes him seem like a bit of a douche. But I don't have any problem with what he said. It's just. I mean, Joker also slated another match slated Ben Chilwell's hair, saying he looks like an action man. I mean, that's just a bit.
that's just weird.
Yeah, but he does. I mean, I was caught by Ben Chilwell's hair when he played against Spurs. It starts off lovely and groomed and slick and wet at the start of the match, and then obviously it gets hot and it turns into a very kind of fuzzy mess. But it was very action man like. So good reference, Joe Cole.
So,
What do you think about players speaking behind their back and that kind of level of honesty?
well, I think anytime you speak behind someone's back and stuff, it's not very good. I agree with you. If you're being paid to be a pundit, I would suggest you just say what you're thinking. You don't worry about his mate that comes into your gym that you don't want to upset, and unless this guy is absolutely built, but like
and a madman,
and a madman. But yeah, it's like I'm sure Kyle Walker wouldn't really care. He probably doesn't care what Rio Ferdinand said. He probably just brushes it, waters off a duck back and all that. But I don't know. Yeah, I just sort of think if you're paid to be a pundit, then you just sort of say whatever nonsense comes into your head. That's what most pundits do. So,
well, it's a problem. I find that Rio Ferdinand does just talk nonsense because he doesn't offer anything critical. He's so reactionary. But the player who, a striker breaks a record that weekend and he's suddenly the best striker in the Premier League, and then someone else scores a hat-trick next weekend, they're the best striker in the Premier League. He seems so reactionary. He doesn't offer any honesty, I don't feel.
I never pictured Rio Ferdinand to be a pundit. When his time at United and Leeds and West Ham and how he was in front of the cameras, and when he was at United I didn't sign up to MUTV, but obviously you always see clippets of it. It was just, he never had that pundit sort of, you never looked at him and thought, oh, you'll stay in football. I always just assumed he would just, maybe, I don't know, youth coaching or something, or go to West Ham and go back to his roots there, but I never pictured him as a pundit. But I've never ever seen Joe Cole as a pundit, so I can't comment on what he's like. What is
no,
he?
it's only recently since he retired, and he's only come into the last kind of month. Yeah, he's not great, obviously, because it's in his infancy of his career, so I don't expect him to be perfect. But yeah, but apparently Joe Cole's a really funny lad, and I think he just needs to develop that on-camera presence and actually relax a little bit for that to come across. Because he made a quip there off camera, but I think he I don't see him being too insightful. I don't see him being great. I don't see him being the kind of the pundit on the Chelsea kind of Spurs big Sunday match type pundit. I can see him being the filler in the lesser matches. But we'll see. All right. Anything else?
Just while we're on pundits, you always say like Ronaldo and Messi have skewed what people now think are good goal scoring stats. I think I don't know if we've had this conversation on a pod, but I know we've had it privately. Do you think that likes of Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher are putting a whole new bracket to what we think pundits should say? I really like Gary Neville as a pundit. I think he's insightful. I think what he talks through with Jamie Carragher on a Monday Night Football was always really good. And it's sort of like, is that sort of the yardstick that everyone's now sort of judging pundits to be like, or is that not right?
Absolutely. So for so many years, pundits were just stealing a living, basically, thinking, I know football, I can just get by on what I previously knew. I didn't even have to do any research. I can just I've seen a few clips of this player, I can just talk about it. But then Gary Neville came in, and then Jamie Carragher stepped up to his level. But yeah, Gary Neville's set the bar for punditry. He's fantastic in my eyes, but you still got the guff around there, kind of eking their way through. But I would have thought, for me, I would have thought players like they're equals. So Gary's equals from his England days and his Man United days would want to step up to his plate, but I don't see Rio putting in the miles and getting up to that stage. He hasn't pushed himself up to that level yet. But I think they need to, because that actually offers the viewer, the listener, some level of insight and some expertise rather than just regurgitating old news.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting thought. So, other things that caught my eye in the news actually links to a comment we had on last week's pod from Gajo, is the guy who left the comment on YouTube. So hello. And he was wondering about US football and the current crisis and the fact they've taken, they've just, for people that don't know, because they might not know, they've taken 13 months, I think it is, to appoint their new manager, who's a guy called Greg Berhalter, I think is how you pronounce his surname. And Josh, I'm pretty sure you don't really know who this guy is.
I know of him. I recognise the name, just from playing football.
Yeah.
I don't know him though. I don't know his managerial style, but from the off you go. He was assistant manager for the US men's national team, and they took 12 months or 13 months to appoint someone. You think pretty sure he knew of this guy on day one.
It seems, yeah.
It's not great for him as a person. It's almost like you're considering all these different options, although by all accounts they really didn't interview anyone else, which is embarrassing. And then you end up appointing him. If you're going to appoint him, get it done early so he can get in there. Have they lost 13 months of him getting to know players and then players getting to know his style, and it's just time wasted, isn't it?
It just seems like it's all been completely fudged and it's all gone completely wrong. Like when the England national team appointed Steve McLaren, and I can't remember who the FA chairman was at the time, but he came out and he was like, "We've got our first choice. Bollocks, have you? Because if it was your first choice, you would have appointed him straight away. He was assistant manager."
Yeah,
So,
it is similar to that. But this seem very like kind of Bruce Arena type appointment. It doesn't seem. I doubt if there was any fan with that much hope. I mean, he's had the European career, and he's managed other. It's not. I mean, Lopetegui I think was mentioned. Although Lopetegui comes with his own baggage, seemingly, with he'll probably have some crisis and get sacked within the first 6 months. It would just be a bit more. It'd fill the fans with a bit more hope, wouldn't it?
yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing. So the US national team really surprises me because I thought with the growth of MLS, how it's grown, I was like, I'm pretty sure I said at university that America would win a World Cup by 2030, I think is what I said. And now they seem further away from that than ever because, well, they didn't qualify for the last one. They've not looked good. But then you look at their squad and it's got some good young talent in it, and it's sort of like how could a United States of America not qualify for the World Cup in that qualifying section of the world? It's absolutely ridiculous. But I think, good luck to Greg in the role. I'm with you, Josh. I think it's all a bit uninspiring and a bit yeah.
Just on your US international team prediction, I actually made a similar prediction about China, thinking they'd win a World Cup at that time because they were at the time, a few years back, were really pushing for. Like where players were coming through, I was like, well, with the sheer volume of players, they can surely develop 11 world-class players with that size of population, but that really hasn't come across.
I think it must come down to because the best players in the world, your Ronaldos, your Messis, your Maradonas, Pelés, whatever era, there's a natural talent in there, isn't there? And China just doesn't ever seem to have the natural talent for a footballer that we've seen yet so far. So. Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, it's just very bizarre, but interesting. I mean, Arsene Wenger had a shit prediction as well, didn't he? He said that a Russian team would win the Champions League by 2020. That's not going to happen. So, but yeah.
Well, you never know. You never know, but it seems unlikely at this point. That's probably the more feasible one of our predictions. But our predictions, like I'm bringing Arsene Wenger into our our realm. Yeah, me, you, and Arsene, we've had our predictions, and
just so you remember, Josh.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger's the only one of us three that's unemployed. So, really.
True.
There you go. Whose predictions would you rather have? Someone that's unemployed or me or yours? There you go. I'll leave it there. We'll leave it there for that bit. Sorry, Arsene.
You're unemployed bum.
Yeah, on the dole. Right, next up. Anything else in the news?
Last one was the obvious one. The big news from last weekend after City played Chelsea was I presume I have to say, alleged racism from the Chelsea fans shouting obscenities at Raheem Sterling when he walked over to the side of the pitch, and it's just so sad to see, but not unsurprising.
Yeah,
so I'll say this that
it's just weird.
It's just that
weird.
I mean, it's overall, I've never understood racism. I can't ever get my head around it. But football is just a reflection of society, and football's had to always kick it out of racism for many a year now. And you're just tackling the symptoms, not the cause. There, you can kick as many people out of a football stadium, but there will be racists that stay quiet and therefore don't get kicked out. If you still got racism in society, which we do. Racist in football, so you can't just tackle football. I'm kind of mirroring what I saw. Listen to John Barnes. If you haven't listened to John Barnes' interview on BBC Breakfast, it is fantastic. He comes across incredibly well, incredibly knowledgeable on the subject, and informative, and it's just real joy to listen to. And I don't hear of John Barnes too much. I don't see him in the kind of punditry circle too much, but I would pay to see that man speak. He was fascinating to listen to, and he to speak about a holistic approach to racism. But it needs to be taken out through. It needs to be the average kind of black person on the street to be seen as acceptable. You can't just make Raheem Sterling's be acceptable. These superstars and tackle racism at that level. You've got to tackle it at a lower level, and unfortunately, you're a long way off there. But I've credit to Raheem Sterling throughout this. He's reacted well. He reacted well initially. He actually spoke up and said something. Often players don't. In his response, he offered comparative between Foden and Adebayo. But didn't put himself into the mix because he's had many a news story that he could have talked about, but he put two comparable Man City youth players, and it's just disgusting the way that they're both portrayed. And you see the list of Raheem Sterling headlines or back-page headlines that have been in newspapers. It is an attack, and it is disgusting.
It is, and I can only agree with everything you've said. I think it's very strange. I mean, it's quite. The good thing about what's happened out of this is that it seems to have got quite a lot of traction on it. So you got like Ruud Gullit coming out. I mean, Nike have now picked Raheem Sterling to do part of their branding against racism, as you were. So like Colin Kaepernick from the NFL. So Nike got in touch with Sterling. And were like, are you happy for us to use this phrase that you've mentioned and use you as a sort of picture and get the word out there to everyone that uses it? And Ruud Gullit's article was very interesting. About Ruud Gullit basically says, it's not about me because I'm in a very successful position about what I've done as a black athlete. Ruud Gullit's like, it's society that we need to get the message down to, and you need to change it from the roots up. And it was very good. And then I read a very interesting article on a website that I've plugged numerous times on this podcast, Football 365. If you've never been there, go and check it out. Some good writers. They've got a great one that links the racism that is still present in football, or the rise in racism incidents, because now obviously Kick It Out have this thing where you can anonymously text in and say the guy 2 seats down from me is using racial slurs or racist language and things like that, and they've got a great article linking basically the increase in racism to how Brexit and right-wing political standpoints have risen across Europe, and it's a very interesting link that they've put together, and a very good article about it all. So it was very interesting to read, and it's one of those, it's a shame. I can't believe it still happens in the world, let alone football. People will always have weird things that they judge people by, but if football can lead the way, similar to the NFL in America, and the NFL in America is absolutely mental with how they're dealing with all the racist things. It's crazy to think that people don't. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the NFL, but football here, if there can be a big change in how footballers are perceived and the racist tones that are used by the journalists and media outlets make a big change, then hopefully that'll make a big change on society, because like you mentioned, they do sort of go hand in hand, society and football, and one's a reflection of the other. It's just a very odd situation, because it seemed like everything was going well. Like from my not the media outlets, they're a disgrace with the things they've, like you say, the headlines and stuff about Raheem Sterling and how they just sort of link Raheem Sterling into weird things that he has nothing to do with in the article. But racism in England, you never really heard about it at grounds anymore. There was nothing headline breaking like the Chelsea one, and it was always Russia or Poland and things like that, and you're like, I really hope they can sort it out. And now it's close to home. It's sort of like, wow, we've got a long way to go. Yeah,
agreed.
But,
all right,
but
but well done for Raheem Sterling winning Player of the Month. 3 goals, 3 assists last month, and he wins November Player of the Month. So well done to him.
Yeah, very good indeed.
So let's focus on his football as well. All right, so we'll now move on to the quiz. So, Quiz Kamara's back. We need to put jingle for this day. We need a quiz jingle. I need to.
You're on this. You're on the Quiz Kamara jingle. I've gone Wiki-Files. So.
Okay. All right. I'll give a think. And if anyone has a suggestion of what, be it a Simpsons song I can adapt for quiz, or a brief ditty around the quiz, please let me know. But I'll come up with something. Maybe I'll sing it live in next week's podcast.
Oh my word!
All right. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you didn't go and research something I mentioned on last week's pod.
Do you know what? I didn't, and I've completely forgot. It was something about Dutch people, but I can't remember.
Yes.
I can't remember what it
Okay.
was.
So the question, following from last week's question, you've had 8 Dutch managers in the Premier League, and you need to name them, Mr. Nichols.
Okay, right. Van Gaal.
Yes.
Louis Van Gaal, obviously, at Man United. Dick Advocat. At
Such an emphatic way of saying dick.
Sunderland. Mr. De Boer.
Oh, you're going clubs as well, are you?
At Crystal Palace. Oh, yeah, obviously. I'm going to try. Let's see how far this gets.
Which De Boer?
Frank.
Yes.
Yes, good, because I got the wrong one last time, didn't I? Okay. Dutch, that's eight of them. Bloody hell.
Yeah, you got 3.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave that there. And
Yeah.
you get your thinking caps on. Listeners, get your thinking caps on. 5 more to name, because we have Dick Advocat, Frank De Boer, and Louis Van Gaal so far. All right. We'll pick that up later on. And so let's move on to the reviews of yesterday's football. And it was an action-packed day. We had 7 matches in total. Some fantastic goals. And we'll start with the early kick-off of the day. Manchester City versus Everton. And, Man City back on winning ways with a 3-1 win over the Toffees. So, any thoughts on this match, Dave?
Well, Gabriel Jesus didn't suffer that lack of confidence for very long, did he? I mean, quite an emphatic performance for him as a striker. I thought he took his first goal incredibly well when it was a lovely through ball from Sane. I think it was Sane who put the ball in.
Yeah.
In the replay, you could see him running onto that ball, and he has such a quick look at Jordan Pickford. And in that split second of looking at Jordan Pickford, you can just see in his eyes, he's like, yeah, I can just blast this at the near post, and there's no way the keeper's getting to it. And I just thought, if that's a striker lacking confidence, that's incredible.
Do you know what he puts it down to? He puts it down to his mum. His mum's joined him in Manchester.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
His family. Yeah, he's been on his own. His family have joined him in Manchester. He's like, let's give him the confidence back.
Ah.
So that's all you need. You need your mum by your side, and you get confidence.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. I mean, and then he got his second. Oh, on that, because I'm pretty sure it was Sane that got the first assist. Do you know that no other player in the Premier League has assisted more goals than Leroy Sane in 2018? He got more assists.
We got 2 in this match, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like in 2018, he's got more assists than like Eden Hazard, David Silva, Mesut Ozil, Eriksen, all these players that are famed for not scoring too many goals but getting quite a lot of assists. And Leroy Sane is up there with more assists than all of them.
Well, you've got the element here that he plays in a free scoring Man City side.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect storm, isn't it? I imagine if De Bruyne had been playing more, he would have been challenging him for that. But it is that free scoring, free wheeling Man City side, and obviously it being a kind of key element of that, he is one of a few players who gets it. They seem to play in a similar way, score similar goals, which generates similar portfolios of goals. So you have the Sane link, whereas maybe other sides have scored different varieties of goals where assists will come from different areas. But he's still a fantastic player. He's so bloody quick, so quick, and
so fast.
Yeah. It's just obscene how fast that man is.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did very well. I mean, Paul from Everton playing. It seems to be recently teams play out from the back. They've been splitting their centre backs to either side of the penalty box and trying to play out from that a lot more recently. Or I've just noticed it. And this was the first goal obviously came from Yerry Mina, just kind of hoofing a ball to the middle of his own half, and and then goal. And so that was not great from Everton to play out from back there. And again, the second goal where Jesus heading in, it's just kind of Jesus has got good movement. He finds himself in between the centre backs and nods in. But you got Yerry Mina, and I mean that man is formidable in the air. He should be someone should be picking him up there. But good from Jesus. Nice to see him get.
Yeah.
I remember his first match for City came on against Spurs. Didn't score, but was absolutely obscene. He had something like 3 chances like, oh my goodness, this guy just is going to find it hard to not score. Everything seemed to gravitate towards him. So yeah, it's nice to see him back on the scoring sheets.
Yeah, and then Everton obviously made it a little bit tense for a very short period of time by getting a goal back. I mean, they also wasted quite a few chances. Richarlison very early in the first half blasting over.
Yeah, it was a little bit too high for him, wasn't it? He didn't get his foot over it, and but he's done well. But yeah, Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin. He's got. It looks like he's got so much potential. Calvert-Lewin. It looks like he could be very, very good. I think what's his fifth goal in all competitions this season.
Yeah.
Is he ever going to get the run in the side that you think you need as a youngster to see whether he's got the potential, or I don't know. What are your thoughts on him?
I can't see. We're going to have a season with him as our main man up front. I just can't see it, and I think he'd need that. He need that run of games. You're a 12 goals, 15 goals in the season, kind of like how Saido Berahino had that kind of breakout West Brom season, where he played constantly, and obviously it's not a perfect example of how he pushed on, but I think he needs that run of games where he is the kind of main man and actually just has that kind of that weight on his shoulders where the expectation is he's got to deliver from the off, rather than coming on and scoring or kind of having a half a game and doing something. He needs to be that main man, and I just can't see. It's like Solanke at Liverpool. I can't see Solanke getting that at Liverpool either, and it's a shame to see because I think they've both got talent. They seem quite complete forwards. They've got all a bit of everything. They've a decent size, kind of body structure, so they're decent in the air. They've got good turn of pace. They can come short. They all seem to be quite well rounded, but I think they need time then to really push on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then obviously a guy we've talked about quite a lot already in the podcast, Raheem Sterling, first touch on as a sub.
First touch.
Literally as soon as Everton got their goal back, he came on as a sub, and that was it really.
Yeah, it came from a counter-attack, and again, it highlights what I said earlier about Everton's centre-backs. I can understand Jesus being a striker and good movement and getting in there and getting a header in, but for Raheem Sterling to score a headed goal in your 6-yard box, come on, you've got to really tighten up a bit there. I can't really remember too many other headed goals that Raheem Sterling scores, to be honest with you, but well done for him popping in there and getting a goal. It keeps that goals flowing, and then to his contribution to goals is just quite amazing as well. With Sane getting assists, Sterling gets goals and assists. He nearly something every week he contributes a goal. So well done to him.
Yeah, exactly. I will
say City find themselves top of the table again for a few hours at least.
Yeah, yes. Let's not talk about that.
We'll touch on that a little bit later, won't we? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I will say for that third Man City goal, Kurt Zuma's defending was absolutely woeful at fullback. When he got moved to fullback, he was absolutely shocking for that third goal. But if you have watched it and you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch a replay of that goal and just see how bad he was at defending Sane. I think not Sane because he had come off. Whoever was on, it might have been Jesus when he moved out there to the left wing to help the goal. But yeah, he was just shocking, absolutely shocking. And I don't like bad defending, as you can tell. Next up,
one last positive. To see Kevin De Bruyne back, lovely player. Rolls-Royce player, fantastic. Good to see him back playing, and it's crazy that City have done this well with probably one of their best players out. And so, I think Man City fans will all be very happy if he can come back and get back to full fitness by the new year and really push him on.
Definitely. And then, everybody's favourite second manager, Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace. Good win. A very much needed win. Their first, if I'm right in thinking, their first without Wilfried Zaha this season.
Yeah, for 2 years.
It's
been their first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 14, 15 games, something like that, without him. And again, it's a really nice finish from Milivojevic, but it just seemed very toothless from everybody. Without having Zaha in the side, it just seems just like, you replace him with Jordan Ayew, it's like, that's a real step down, isn't it?
I was going to say, I felt really bad for Andros Townsend in this game, because Townsend really worked his balls off trying to get balls into the box and being that little buzzing sort of player around, putting defenders under pressure, and every time he set up a goal scoring opportunity, it fell to Jordan Ayew, who just was awful. He is so bad. Jordan Ayew is not a Premier League striker.
No.
Dreadful. But let's go back to the positives. Luka Milojevic's strike, what a hit.
It's a beautiful strike across the keeper and to the far post. It's really nice. And he's got a good striker because obviously he can take free kicks. He takes penalties, so he's got that striking with ball ability. But yeah, I really, I didn't really see where a goal was going to come from if it wasn't something like that, because it was hard work and not much else. And they held on because Leicester didn't really look too dangerous overall. I didn't think. Vardy, would you make? Do you reckon it was a foul on the keeper? Vardy,
I was just about to come to
challenging him.
that.
It's just a little bit behind him. I would say yes, it's a foul, but maybe if it was in the middle of the pitch like a midfield battle, it maybe not have been given. But I think there it's always going to be.
I think because it was a nudge, it was a shoulder, but it was just in the back of the goalkeeper, back of Guita, and I would say if that happened in the middle of the pitch, it would be a foul. I reckon the referee would give a foul. If that was a defender doing it on a striker in the box, it wouldn't have been a penalty.
Well, I tell you what it's similar to. I'm going to forget the players' names here, but it was the Wolves-Bournemouth match, and I think maybe Hotter was through on goal, and we caught him on the edge of the area. That's a similar. It's kind of like, are they shoulders? Is it shoulder to back? That's similar, and that was not given as a foul. And so I think that would be as far as weekend comparisons go, that would be similar.
Yeah, very true. I will say that Vincent, I think his name is, or Vicente Guita, the goalkeeper for Crystal Palace, is very lucky if you think that was given as a free kick and then he kept a clean sheet. Like if that's not given as a free kick and Vardy scores, he would probably never play for Crystal Palace again. You'd imagine.
Yeah, on your debut.
Yeah, it makes the difference.
He shouldn't have found himself in that situation, should he? He should have just been. Don't let yourself have any of contact with the opposing striker. You need to get rid of that ball before he's in a position to get there. I think he probably underestimated Vardy's kind of pace and tenacity there. But overall, good win for Palace. It was a needed win for Palace because they've been on a bit of a poor run. So
it's done a lot for them as well. 5-point difference now, isn't there, to the relegation zone? So
it's separating a bit, isn't it?
Yeah. So all right then. Next up, a team that dropped into the relegation zone, Huddersfield Town, against another struggler, Newcastle United.
Again, we spoke about Huddersfield the other week against Brighton. How I think they lost at home there. They needed to pick up results against sides around them. Again, you need to be picking up a result against Newcastle. And to be fair, they were unlucky. They had so much possession in this match, and it was a kind of from nothing goal. 74% possession in this match, Huddersfield. That's got to be one of the largest amounts of possession, and still lose.
And to still lose. Yeah, it's just. I actually thought Newcastle's goal was incredibly good.
Lovely goal.
The counter attack on it was ridiculously good. And I think there's one pass from Manquillo, I think was the right back, who just sort of laid it off to his centre back and then just literally bombed it up the right wing and got the ball back, put it across into Perez. Perez laid it into Rondon, and it was a lovely left-footed finish. But if Huddersfield can't win a game when they dominate a game like that so much, it just looks bad, doesn't it? Is it solved? Is it solved with a January spending spree? That's the issue, because they haven't spent that much money.
No, they haven't, and they need a goal scorer. Del Poitre and even Meunier will not get you enough goals to keep you in the league if you're conceding goals like this. If you have a solid defence, and you maybe can nick some goals, but they need a striker. And the problem is we spoke about it on previous pod, is that they will not sack Wagner.
Yeah,
they need to spend money, get different. If they don't spend money and keep Wagner, they get relegated because nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
They're not going to miraculously find themselves. They may pick up a few results, but other teams will as well. They're not going to turn it around with enough degree of clarity between them and other teams to pull them through that. So they need to spend money on it. They need to get someone to score some goals. And because Del Poitre yesterday, he just offers nothing. He's nowhere near good enough for Premier League.
What about Jermaine Defoe on loan from Bournemouth? Do you reckon that would get them goals, or he would not fit their style of play at all? He's not playing at Bournemouth. He hasn't played for them since the first game of the season, maybe. He's a goal scorer.
Yeah, he is a goal scorer. Maybe. I think Yeah, it's signing anyone. You hoping to score goals is going to be a risk because they may just not click. It may just not work for them. And player you didn't think was going to be a goal scorer, someone like how bad it doesn't Amiyazaki and gets you like 10 goals. But
Yeah, true, true.
yeah, it's not a bad shout. Although he got his age and now he's getting on a bit, so it
Well,
might be time past him. But
he's got 2 years left on his Bournemouth contract, so he's going to be there for a while.
yeah, I have literally no idea how he wangled that one.
Oh no, but yeah, I mean, a good defensive display from Newcastle. Do you think they actually did well? I mean, Dubravka made a couple of good saves in the game, and Benitez seems to be back to his usual way of getting hard-working players to be slightly better than the sum of its parts sort of thing, and grinding out these wins. I think Newcastle have, how many have they won now in the league? It's getting up there, isn't it? It's more to what we think Benitez does with the clubs.
Yeah, exactly. This is more of a difference maker you see him being. But yeah, they've picked up results. It's this key period that we saw. They had a tough start to the season, but they picked up results where they thought they've got now 4 draws, 9 losses. But yeah, he is making that difference. We know that Benitez can. But again, I'll reiterate: please go to a better club because or hold it out until they change. They sell the club and you get some money because you deserve better. Benitez, because I like Newcastle, but Benitez is beneath himself at the moment without any money there. He'd be interesting to see what he could do if he was given lots of money and spent like 3 years there. It'd be really interesting to see, but I don't see it happening.
No, the same here. And I will just say, if Newcastle United are sold in time for Benitez to buy anyone, Josh, I will buy you 5 pints of beer after the podcast that we record, because all that will happen is Mike Ashley is saying, oh yeah, we're in deep negotiations, which means the club's then put under a transfer embargo because they're potential new owners, and it means he doesn't have to spend any money on signing players. Guarantee you that's what's happening. Guarantee you.
He's timed it perfectly for January.
He always does. Mike Ashley's a knobhead, isn't he? He knows what he's doing.
He is.
So
all right,
yeah,
well done Newcastle. See you later Huddersfield, because this is a slippery slope. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to Tottenham Hotspur versus Burnley. So
let me give you a little household derby.
Yeah, let me give you a timeline of how this worked. I was coming back from a day out. I was going around to my my in-laws, and so it was about 88th minute. I got out of the car with it doing 0-0, thinking, oh god, here we go. This is why Tottenham will never win the league. We can't beat the teams. You know, we had a good result midweek. Can't beat the teams. Literally walk into my in-laws' house, and my father-in-law goes, "Well, you've just scored." And I was like, yes! I had to check my phone to make sure he wasn't lying, and I was like, oh yes. And he was like, oh, last kick of the game apparently. I was like, well, I couldn't be happier, but I apologise.
Thank you for welcoming me into your house.
Yes, but it was a very much so. It didn't seem like it was going to come, but it wasn't through. I mean, I heard lots of reports of Burnley's stout at defending, but it really wasn't. We created lots of chances. It's kind of when people said that Chelsea. Yeah, when people said like Chelsea did well when they won the Champions League, they defended so well. It's like, no, they got super lucky, because another day that team would have scored 4 or 5 goals past you. It's not good defending. It's just the other team not scoring. Good defending is not allowing your team to take a shot on goal like Man City do. But
it was very similar to Man United v Juventus, where Man United won 2-1 with our 2 late goals this season in the Champions League, but Juventus could have been 4 or 5-0 up in the first half. It was luck. Like, it was lucky that Burnley stayed in the game as long as they did.
Yeah,
I mean,
they didn't have a shot on target.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, the thing that sticks out for me is when I think it was Son Heung-min put in a ball across the face. Yeah, I was going to say Dele Alli, but he missed it. And Tarkowski kicked it. Basically, looked like it was an own goal. And then Dele Alli missed it at the back post, and everyone was astounded in the stadium that it was a corner. It was like how has that possibly happened? But yeah, I don't know. Burnley are. All it needs is a good run from Southampton with a new manager. If they get a new manager bounce, and Burnley are in trouble. They are in major trouble. But it was a good. I mean, Christian Eriksen took the goal well. Joe Hart will probably be a bit
Very,
annoyed.
very similar goal Cristiano scored there to his goal against Inter Milan the other week. The fact that he got played into a man in the box, they rolled it to the side, and then he sweeps it in. It was obviously Ali rolled it to Eriksson, and he scored with his left foot against Inter. But it was Kane rolling it to Eriksson, he swept it in with his right foot. But yeah, parallels of that.
Yeah.
Again, a late goal to get the points as well. But yeah, love
also,
you, Christian Eriksen.
Big shout out. The composure from Harry Kane as a striker to not just shoot with his left foot in that position and actually pass it off to Eriksson was incredible.
Yeah, a frustrating game. Goal scorer, you think I'm just going to swivel and just end up shooting at someone's legs. But yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
That man. Oh. But yeah, very good from Spurs. Very, they were points dropped in previous. We did it against Watford. It is a good game to get a result in and put pressure on the top sides, and obviously extend our unbeaten run of the league, and push away from the 5th position to keep ourselves in the top 4. So very happy.
Yeah, very nice. And then on to what could only be described as one of the most mental games I've ever seen highlights of, I think, in modern time. Watford v Cardiff.
Yeah. Goals of the goals of the game, goal of the what's your goal of the game? Just we'll name a player and we'll talk through the goals and say name your player's goal of the game.
I actually really liked, as much as I love a Thronker, I really liked Delafeu's goal, just for the composure and the dribble. I know you would like that because of the dribbling, and you love it when a dribble goal ends in a nice little finish.
Yeah.
I mean, Junior Hoylett's goal was very nice, and Queener's goal was very nice, and Holobas's goal was very nice. But I think for that early point in the game, he used Delafeu used the dummy runners either side of him so well to just put the defenders in the right position. Then a lovely little 1-2 with his own feet and to put it past Etheridge in the corner. Lovely goal, and it got me fantasy football points. So,
lovely.
Lovely stuff. Yeah.
All right, so we'll start with just cover it in full there. So yeah, Delafeu had a cracking match. I thought really impressive. And when Delafeu's on form, he really is such a good dribbler of the ball. It really is a close control, and so can be so direct. Sometimes he does dribble up his arse though, and the ball he just kind of just enjoys dribbling, and it has no end product. But this time he had some end product. So yeah,
that game, the game against Cardiff, you can see, you could say to him, yeah, he used to play for Barcelona, that's in that sort of game. That game he had, he's just looked the best player on the pitch probably.
I'm wondering if there was ever Barcelona B matches where Adama Traore and Delafeu played in the same match, and they just spent the game dribbling up their own arses, and there must have been someone up front going, "Come on, pass me the goddamn ball."
There probably was, yeah.
Yeah, but it's that final touch, his last touch before he shoots, where he just flicks inside the player, that flick of the outside of his right foot. It's just like it completely does him. It's beautiful. So yeah, great start to the match for Watford, and then they get a second goal in the early second half. Holobas sweeping one in with his left foot, which again has parallels with another goal this weekend. Snodgrass's goal, we'll touch on later. Very similar to this one.
Very true.
And then they put themselves 3-0 up with a player I really like. I'm very impressed with this player, Queener. He is a real talent, I think. I think he can go on to be quite a player, kind of top level player. He's got lovely control. He's quite strong on the ball. He's got a lovely range of passing, and obviously a decent finish here for his first ever professional goal. Yeah,
signed from West Ham as well. It's quite a rarity that someone like a youngster. Obviously, youngsters move clubs all the time, but it's quite rare that one youngster who hasn't played much football for a Premier League team comes into this team, and he did enough in that performance. I'd say he deserves to play in the next game, and if he does it again, then he'll play in the next game and the next game, and it's just interesting. I mean, that's the first time I've seen him, and he looked good. Yeah, he looked powerful, strong, quick on the ball, quick thought, quick footballing brain and thought as well. So it'll be interesting to see how his career goes.
Yes, it will be. Yeah, and because I mean, Watford have got some really talented ball players. And you got Delafeu, you got Queen. Have they got some real nice? I mean, I like Doucouré. He's a good footballer. They got some talent on that side.
Yeah, it's just that they then get complacent and give up 2 goals to Cardiff City.
Pereira again, but yeah, that's the other side of it. I mean, again, this was Junior Hoylett, who was a bit of a blast from the past, it seemed, with he's deceptively young, scoring from almost the same place he scored the other week, but this time he had a little bit of a dribble to it as well. So who knows what's going to happen next month? He's going to do an even longer dribble and then score a similar goal. So he's just going to extend this goal out. He's just doing it in stages. We saw the final final shot like a few weeks ago. Now we've got a dribble. Now we're going to bring it forward, and it's just be brilliant. It's got his own goal of a season competition.
Or he won't do anything now for the rest of the season. That was it.
Do you know what? I think if he continues to score a few goals, say he scores 3-4 more goals, he'll get himself a Premier League move. Because I think we'll find Cardiff getting relegated. But if he can show that kind of, if he can has that like he did with Blackburn, that level of kind of he can score a worldie, or he can dribble past a few players. He'll get him again in the Premier League next season.
Interesting. And then one of the worst, scrappiest goals I've ever seen. Bobby Reed
ruined it, didn't you?
Yeah. It's just.
I mean, it could have been lovely if that back heel had gone in, but then it just bobbles round back to him and he pokes it in before anybody else realises.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's a good.
If the back heel had gone in.
Yeah, exactly. If the back heel goes in, it's a lovely goal. But praise Bobby Reed. Good, quick thinking to poke it home and reacted quicker than the defenders. But I don't know, Cardiff. They're showing fight, aren't they? They are showing fight this season.
They are, but they still surprise me how they show such a lack of defensive stability and just cohesion. It's just so many individual areas. Obviously not today. It's just fantastic goals, but they really don't. Just quickly, what do you think about Troy Deeney's challenge through on Etheridge? Because it's weird. It was weird to see Etheridge chat after the game, and he seemed very pissed off. Yeah,
I thought it was. In real time, I thought it's a ball he has to go for, and he made an attempt to pull out of the tackle, knowing he wasn't going to get there. Seeing the replay, I still think it was a ball he had to go for. But when he pulls out of the tackle, he actually pulls out of it really strangely and Troy Deeney aims his studs at Etheridge's shins. Pretty much. Yeah. That's what it looked like in the replay.
It does look like he pulls out from going for the ball and pull out to any use whatsoever.
Now, it's hard to judge because in those sort of conditions, that could be the only place Troy Deeney could move his feet to stop hitting Etheridge in the chest or the face. So in that sense,
he thought, he's got shin pads on. Be able to take this, but I mean, I'm not a fan of Troy Deeney, but.
Really, Josh? I don't think you've ever mentioned that before on this podcast.
Really? I'll tell you now, I don't like him. No, but I will say one thing about Troy Deeney. He's got a fantastic Wikipedia page, so get on that if you want a little bit of a laugh, because that man's had a hell of a career.
Okay, all right.
Just a recommendation.
Yeah. I mean, I go around recommending Football 365 as a football read. You're there recommending Troy Deeney's Wikipedia page. So
yeah, that, and there was a lovely piece on a Peter Beagrie page, which has now been deleted, but you can check that in edits, because that was a lovely talk about how he used to have a fantastic celebration. So, Sunday afternoon.
Okay, should we move on to Wolves versus Bournemouth?
Wolves versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth. Finally, the side I predicted to have a challenging season is coming true. They have picked up barely any results in the last kind of couple of months, have they? It's been pretty poor.
It's been a significant drop down the table, according to everyone was talking about them getting a Europa League spot. So yeah.
I mean, it can all change.
Is it just a
no win,
one-man team?
One win, last 7 something?
Yeah, one-man team though, isn't it? Callum Wilson's been injured for a couple of games.
Well, that shows the difference goals can make, doesn't it? If you have a decent side, they play nice football, they're defensively all right, but you have someone who can just get you, it's not even a fantastic amount of goals, a fair few goals. It turns those draws, those losses into wins. You get an early goal, you can hold on to it. You nick a late goal, you win it. It's just, that is the difference. It's like Huddersfield, I said with Huddersfield, they get that player who can get a few goals, it can really change things. It's the biggest difference maker, I think.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, very true. I think it's just I don't know. I don't see Bournemouth getting relegated, and I think they're too good to get drawn, and they've got enough points to not really get drawn into a relegation battle. But what do you think of Wolves? I mean, they went through a sticky patch and have come out of it the other side, and are now playing pretty well and up to 7th. So
yeah, and now I think they've equalled the amount of points they had last time they were in the Premier League.
Oh, wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it seems like the front three were whoever they pick are just starting to click a little bit. And Hotter, I think, is finally coming good. He had a really good season last year in the Premier League, but he's starting to have that belief. He's taken on players and doing something with it. He assisted. He, I think, probably unfairly didn't get a foul when he'd gone past Cook. Who we mentioned earlier, the kind of the shoulder barge. But he's starting to look like he's enjoying his football. I think Helder Costa, he's doing all right. He's got a lot of talent, but not fully clicking yet. But I think overall as an attacking unit, Wolves are starting to kind of really pick up the pace.
I think that's what it is. As a unit, they seem to be doing pretty well now. That miss from Helder Costa, by the way, was horrendous when he didn't know whether to power it across goal and hope that Jimenez put in the rebound or got a touch on it, or go at the near post. So just leathered it as hard as he could over the goal.
Yeah. It shows good, I don't think he was quite enjoying that falling on his right foot there.
Yeah. I mean, a similar game to the Newcastle one. Wolves playing like an away team at home, 38% possession, but getting the win. It's interesting to see things like that happening now in football, and it was just very strange.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? How the counterintuitive possession stats. Previously, we've been treated to possession and result, and it's kind of the anti-possession that's coming through. But Wolves. I think all fans will be glad. Wolves fans will be glad that they've turned it back around, because obviously they've kind of bookended a bad run of form. They had a good start, poor middle, and good end to what has been the current 17 matches, and so. I think they've got a bit of a tough run. I know they play Spurs away over Christmas, but they're doing well at the moment, sitting pretty in 7th, just a mere point behind Manchester United. But obviously with a game in hand, and a game in hand on Sunday against Liverpool, so who knows how that'll go.
Well, so they're going to be a point behind Man United come after the game week 17. But yeah, I mean, and then the final game of Saturday. Fulham again struggling. Ranieri hasn't. He's sort of had a little bit of an effect by getting a couple of points, but not. Everyone thought he'd come in and fix the defensive issues straight away. He hasn't. The marking for Antonio's goal was awful. But
man, Tim Ream. But it's the way that he completely pulls himself out of position because he gets drawn to the ball, and then he ends up really far away from when the goal goes in, and he then has his hands up complaining. It's like, you're the one who caused all that, Tim. You're the one who's just you pushed on 10 yards across the goal and left the man at the back there. It's your fault. And I think it'd be. I would imagine we'll get some funds to spend in January, and I think with defenders, I think it's somewhat easier to get a couple of defenders in to really settle it, and I think probably Premier League experience centre back, and no one off the top of my head springs to mind, but I'm sure there'll be, maybe actually someone sprung to mind. Gary Cahill just sprung to mind, thinking, would he do that alone? Just keep himself in the same area? Is it, if the rivalry isn't too strong, he could do that and really kind of keep their defence settled? I don't know. That's just a name I'm throwing out there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't see it happening. Gary Cahill. Robert Huth, is he still a free transfer? Is he still a free agent? Has he got a club?
Yeah, I thought that. When I first thought, I was like, can he pull up any of the old faithful, get Huth and Morgan back? But maybe. Yeah. But it's interesting that this match obviously pitted 2 Premier League winning managers against each other.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. I'd forgotten about them both winning the Premier League. Obviously, Ranieri, you can't forget about that. But yeah, Pellegrini obviously with Man City. And and what a goal as well.
Yeah.
But before we just end this review, what a goal from Snodgrass. Lovely sweeping finish with the left
foot.
Lovely goal.
Yeah,
I do love a goal like that.
First, Holebas or Snodgrass?
Probably Holebas's. It was right in the corner. It was proper postage stamp.
Yeah,
Holebas's.
So. Yeah. Those finishes can go really wrong, can't they? Because they're rolling across you. You can literally just kind of right foot, left foot it. You can sky it.
Yeah.
But it's the fact you've timed it perfectly to then put it back where it's come from and then come back towards you. Yeah, it's a lovely finish.
Yeah, it really was. Well, that's the review done for the week. It was.
Yeah, it's just Owen won't forgive us if we don't go. Shout out to West Ham for winning 4 in a row, find themselves in another position. Well done, West Ham.
Yeah, I'm sure Owen. Well, Owen will be.
Tell him I meant that.
I mean, come on the live podcast next week where we're all going to be sitting in the same room and Owen will be there. There's a potential that West Ham will be above Man United, which is
Really?
well, they're on 24
Oh,
points. If we lose against Liverpool today, it will be going into that podcast. And if West Ham win and Man United lose, West Ham will be on 27 and Man United will be on 26.
West Ham are at home to Watford, and Manchester United are away to Cardiff. That Cardiff match there is the type of result that happens over Christmas. Cardiff to pick up a result there. That is the Christmas result.
Cardiff to win, Mourinho to be sacked. Chuck money at Spurs for Pochettino. Job done.
I'd say if Liverpool hammer United on Sunday and they lose that Cardiff match, I can see a sacking happening.
He won't get sacked until Champions League is mathematically impossible because it's in his contract that he gets a less of a payout. If we don't
really?
qualify for that. Yeah, it's not widely known, but it's being talked about a lot more that it will be when it's not mathematically possible to get the Champions League. But yeah, I mean, a good news for Man United fans though. Chris Smalling signed a new contract, so
is that? I said, because there's some Man United fans in the family up here in Lancashire, and I said, is that because his contract's running out in the summer? Is he one of those? Because you seem to have a lot of players' contract running out in summer, and it's literally, we're just signing you to a contract so we don't leave him free, but we'll sell you for 15 million to sell them.
It's well, they've used the option to extend it for a further year, so it was going to. It's a weird one. Because it says, I'm just looking at it on the BBC, and it says Smalling's previous deal with the Premier League club had been due to expire in June 2019. But then it says he signed a new contract to keep him at Old Trafford for June 2022. Oh, with the option to extend for a further year. Yeah, so we've given him a new contract because it was going to expire in June.
Yeah, I think that's just to avoid him leaving on a free rather than you're going to keep him for that period of time.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it'll be a shame to see. What did Louis Van Gaal call him? Michael Smalling, whatever they called him. Yeah, something like that in a press conference. Yeah, he got his name wrong when he was talking about the vice captain of the club and called him Mike Smalling, I think. So, but
beautiful.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, that ties up Saturday's games. Now, there's a game on Sunday which might tickle some people's fancy. Did you want to cover it slightly, Dave? Do you know anything about it?
Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, Chelsea v Brighton, big game, isn't it?
Yes, that is. There'll be a first half sending off. Just cover that slightly. If you listen to last week's podcast, I made some claims around what was going to happen. I ended up putting an accumulator bet on what was going to happen. So we had Brighton having a first half red card. We had Fulham, Manchester United being 0-0. We had Tottenham to draw. None of those came in, and I made it look like a fool by my own statement. So do not listen to me when gambling. So if you think Mourinho's going to get sacked in a couple of weeks, don't. Although my managerial predictions are all right, I'm living off.
Yeah.
My Jukanovic one, but it didn't go to plan. But yeah, there's Southampton Arsenal, there's Brighton Chelsea, and then there's Liverpool Manchester United. Oh,
can I tell you one thing that really annoys me about this game? Obviously, not the fact that we're going to get absolutely.
You're doing shit. They're doing really well.
Yeah, but the fact that it's on at 4. Why is it on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK? This should be the game that's the early kickoff, so that I can watch it in Singapore.
Do you know that 4 o'clock on a Sunday is my favourite time of the week?
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It used to be more like Sunday 4 o'clock. When I was like in my teens, Ford Super Sunday's on, and as soon as that finishes, I get a roast dinner. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe if I've been out the night before, my hangover would have subsided by then. I can just sit there, watch the Super Sunday match, and then get a roast dinner. It's like, this is bliss. But yeah, it's for you. Obviously, they haven't considered Dave's needs and the 4 o'clock. Maybe give them a call, see if they can put it forward a bit, but don't think that's likely.
No, I mean it's. I don't know if I would want to watch it anyway, to be honest. I mean, I would because I love football, but it's just. I mean, Marcus Rojo, Chris Smalling, Darmian, Luke Shaw, Diego Dalot, Victor Lindelof, Anthony Martial, Scott McTominay, and Alexis Sanchez. That's Man United's injury list for this game. Now, a lot of those names you sort of think, it doesn't really matter. But then you think Chris Smalling, Victor Lindelof, been starting a few games every so often. And then you've got Darmian, Luke Shaw, and Diogo Dalot, who are all our fullbacks pretty much, our out-and-out fullbacks, are injured. And then the guy that covered at left-back last time, Marcus Rojo, who was awful, is now injured. It's just like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, we didn't have much of a hope before that, and now I just don't. I don't see how.
So you have to move
I just don't know. I don't know what's gonna. It'll be
I think
Young at left back. It'll be Jones and Bailly in the middle.
by
Yeah, right back. I mean, who the hell is going to play right back? Am I missing someone
you'd
obvious?
put Ashley Young at right back and then Luke Shaw at left back.
No, Luke Shaw's injured.
Oh, Luke Shaw. Oh, sorry.
Darmian, Luke Shaw,
dear.
and Diogo Dalot are all injured, and Victor Lindelof, who you'd put a right back. So yeah, I don't know
So
what's going to happen. 3 at the back.
So Antonio Valencia.
Yeah, he's been awful since he's come back, and he's fallen out with Mourinho as well. Yeah, it will be Valencia. I don't know. I mean, how can that back four stop Salah, Firmino, and Mane? They can't. But
Yes, I mean you answered that question there. It's not. Is it? So if you had to put yourself on the line and make a prediction, Dave, what's it going to be?
3-1 Liverpool, I think, is what I predicted in my predictions league that I'm in with my friends back in London. But I'm just going to go into my sent emails and double check what I predicted. I'm pretty sure I predicted.
Okay,
3-1.
well I don't know. This seems to come up perfectly for a Mourinho match. He can really just annoy the hell out of Liverpool and really hunker down. And they got quite a big side against. I mean, you got Lovren as centre back, but overall, none of the other players offer that much height. You got very small fullbacks. You got small midfielders. You got small forwards. I think you got Lukaku, Rashford. You got Fellaini maybe probably starts. Matic. You got your centre backs. So I think set pieces is your way forward to this, and I think you could grab a goal and hold on to a 1-1.
I don't think we're going to attack enough. I don't think there'll be enough attacking outlet for us to actually get that many dangerous set pieces. And I think we'll play into Liverpool's hands by setting up in a classic Mourinho defensive shape against a Big Six club. And I think it will play into Liverpool's hands at home at Anfield. And I think I did predict 3-1, and I think that's going to happen. And I think it's going to be one of those games where it could be 5 or 6 to Liverpool. The way they're playing, the players they've got, and our defence being in tatters, I just can't see it going any other way.
All right, well, I was trying to give you some hope, but we'll leave it there and you pretty downbeat.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of hope. So hope
Right,
went a long time.
To cheer you up, Dave. Why don't you sing me a song?
I'll sing you a song. I got a Wiki-File. Here is the Wiki-File. I got a Wiki-File for you. Hey, I just need to record it, don't I? I just need to record it.
Yeah, basically. You can click play.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Oh my word. What is this? Okay. So senior career 93. He started.
I've just seen this. I hadn't looked at his early career. You are going to have a joy pronouncing this second club.
I know. In 93-94, he played for UMFS Dalvik 11 times and scored 5 goals. I'm going. He's Scandinavian. I'll narrow it down to a nation in a minute. 95-97, he scored 31 goals in 54 games for Borotto. I don't. Why is that a symbol? It's not a P.
The first
it's not
letter
a P.
is not part of the Greco-Roman alphabet. It is not there. That is something we don't know what it is.
Well, I think didn't like Sig Pawson or something, or players that played for Iceland have that sort of thing, and it's still pronounced as a P. So I'm going to go with Proto. Right. And then he moved to Lillestrøm. I can pronounce that one. That's fine. In 98-99 for a season. Then that got him a move to Watford, where he played the majority of his games. 174 appearances, 55 goals. Not bad. Then he moved to Fulham for 2 years. 57 appearances, 11 goals. I mean, I'm reading these names. I have no idea who this is. Then Bolton
do you know? You got nothing yet.
Well, I was thinking maybe Odegaard Johnson, but Chelsea's not in there, so it's definitely not that. 2007-2009 Bolton Wanderers, 7 games, 2 goals. On loan to Queen's Park Rangers, 7 games, 3 goals. Signed by Queen's Park Rangers, 68 appearances, 24 goals. Loaned to Watford, 29 appearances, 11 goals. Cardiff City, 38 appearances, 8 goals. Retired in 2013. Giving him 488 appearances, 168 goals.
Not bad.
Right.
Not bad for a goalkeeper. Oh, I'll give you a clue there.
I mean, position-wise, I'm thinking maybe midfielder.
Really?
168 in 488 games. Yeah.
That's a fantastic midfielder, so isn't it? Surely.
That's like 1 in 4, isn't it? Roughly. I Actually, yeah,
No.
strike. Yeah. No?
One
You're
in
better at math than
three.
me.
One in
Is it?
three.
Okay, so 1 in 3. So striker. We're talking striker then.
Yeah.
Premier League must have been Watford and Fulham.
He's dabbled a bit. I'll
Yeah.
give you that as a clue. So he made appearance. His first English experiences were for Watford in the Premier League. They got relegated, moved to Fulham, played in the Premier League, moved to Bolton, played in the Premier League, and then a little bit of QPR was a Premier League.
And he's got to be, with those starting teams, he's got to be Scandinavian. He has to be Scandinavian.
Correct. Do you want any other clue? Do you want? No. Would you like his national?
Yeah, I'll have his national team, please. I'll have his national stats.
Okay, so he whilst that sends across, he's had youth team and senior team appearances.
Icelandic under 19s, 2 goals in 18, under 21s, 1 in 6. Iceland 12 in 55. Retired in 2011, playing for Iceland. That hasn't actually really helped me.
So we have an Icelandic striker. What Icelandic strikers do you know, Dave? Do you know?
Good Johnson.
Good Johnson. Okay, if that's it, we may have to end this here, and I may have to help you out.
I think you're going to have to help me out. I'm struggling to think of a. I'm sure as soon as you say it, I'll kick myself.
This all came from thinking about Fulham and previous players they had. This player was deceivingly good in the air for someone who wasn't actually that large a player. His initials are HH, by the way. I think he's only about 5'10", but a good player.
Herman Hreidarsson.
It wasn't. No, it's Heider Helgason.
Oh, Heider Helgason. I was never going to get that. I'd forgotten him from my memory. Heider Helgason.
Yeah, that's what I'd done. That's why I chose him. But Heider Helgason.
Oh,
decent amount of goals scored. Really, he did all right. 1 in 3 in the Premier League. It's all right for.
You get a spattering of Icelandic nationals, don't you, in the Premier League that do pretty well? Sigurdsson, Jonsson, Hreidarsson, Helgason. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But obviously, you therefore have no fond memories of Heider Helgason. Well, I imagine some Watford fans do, because he's got a long period of history with them, and maybe some Fulham fans have some lovely memories of him.
I don't remember him playing for Watford at all, even though he played 174 games for them. I think the only thing I remember him is Fulham.
Because it was mainly in the Championship at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was actually in the time when it was Division 1. So he only had 1 season in the Championship with Watford, 4 seasons in Division 1, and 1 in the Premier League.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I mean, it's you stumped me there. You stumped me with that Wiki-File. So, yeah.
Do you think that's too hard, Dave? Do you want me to ease off, or is that kind
of? I think that was tough because I just couldn't. Well, it's always tough when you can't remember them. That's the whole point of the game. But
it's someone. When told about him, you don't remember him. You do remember him.
Yeah, I do remember him. And that's part of the game, isn't it? Some of them will be easy. Some of them will be hard, like that. And it just so happens that I give you ones that are really easy, and you always give me ones that are really hard. I mean, if you want to make the game hard and I want to make it easy, that's our own prerogatives, isn't it? So.
Yes, and we have to work out what to do for our 3-way next week. Oh, this is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, that will be fascinating. Maybe we'll just put all the pressure on Owen and say he has to supply a person, and then we just guess.
All right, brilliant. So
there we go.
That was the Wiki-Files for you.
Oh,
so
Josh,
we move now.
You tried.
I have. We've moved now on to our poll. We put out a poll. It was linked to the Champions League. So obviously the Champions League group stages finished this week, and we saw all 4 English clubs progress to the next round through varying levels of. Man City, the only ones topping their group, so they have got a very favourable draw from Monday's draw. But Man United, Liverpool, and Tottenham. Liverpool and Tottenham leaving it till the last minutes of the games to come through, and Man United obviously haven't gone through, but somewhat. I don't know, anticlimactically maybe.
Just eased off, didn't we? Just eased off. We knew we were 3.
Yeah, so, eased off. Yeah. And so the question was, which of the English clubs are going to progress furthest in this year's competition? So we had a nice round of votes here to pull from to give ourselves a good sample size. We had 65% chose Man City. We had 23% chose Liverpool. Some absolute fucking madmen. 8% chose Man United.
Yeah.
And 4% chose Tottenham. So I mean, you blind bastards. Who are you? Why are you choosing Man United?
Shiv,
Was that you, Dave?
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me at all. I had the second vote in this whole poll, and I went Man City. Shiv summed it up well in who the living fuck voted for Man United.
Yes.
I don't understand how Man United got any votes because they're going out in the next round. I can prove it was going to happen as well. We're going to draw Porto, and we're still going to go out. That's what's going to happen. We're going to draw Porto, and then there'll be a big hoo-ha about Mourinho going back to his club, and then they'll knock us out, and it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, Man City, runaway winner of the vote.
Yeah, and well, the thing is, and it could very well manifest itself in the next round because they are top seed, they're seeded, and it really has split between good and bad clubs in the seeds this year, isn't it? Because
it has, yeah.
It's all the top seeds. Nearly all the top sides are atop their group. You could very well get thrashed out in the next round. So Man City being a top seed allows them to avoid that uncertain fate. But yeah, I'd say Man City.
Did you vote Man City as well?
Spurs and United. I voted Man City, yeah, because I think I predicted them to win it at the start of the season, and they still are a very good side. I do need to go deeper into that competition. They need to get semi-finals and final. They need that as a club.
Yeah, I think
stage.
Again a comment on the poll from Brett Higgins. We had a few comments on it, and he said, he has a feeling that Pep will be sort of demanding that good European run this season, and he'll sacrifice something for it, like the FA Cup. Basically, Brett is basically saying, he'll sacrifice something in the English football season so that he can go and get further into Europe, and they've got a very good chance of winning it if they keep their performances up, and with the squad depth they've got as well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who can stop them. I mean, I predicted Ronaldo and Juventus to win the Champions League, so I'm hoping that Juventus beat them. That would be nice.
That would be nice for Juventus because it's been a long old way.
Yeah, it has.
So that is that. So obviously we'll have the draw on the 17th, Monday the 17th. We'll pick up any highlights up from that in next week's podcast. But to end this pod, we'll get Dave. Can Dave do better than he did in the Wiki-Files and finish off the Dutch managers to manage in the Premier League? We had 3 so far. Dick Sunderland fame, Frank de Boer of Crystal Palace infamy, and Louis van Gaal of an indifferent time at Man United. So we have 5 left to name. Dave,
do you know what? I've got 4 of them. I'm gutted I can't think of the last one, and I think it's going to be really
I reckon
quite
I know
obscure.
which one. But I reckon I can guess which one you haven't got, and then I can give you a clue and you'll get him. All right? Let's go.
Ruud Gullit of Chelsea fame. And Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ronald Koeman of Everton and Southampton fame.
Yep.
Martin Jol of Spurs and Fulham fame.
Yes.
And everybody's favourite not favourite Dutchman, but everyone loves him as a manager, Gus Hiddink.
Exactly how it played out in my head.
Yeah, and I don't know who the last one is.
I've got a feeling, I'm not 100% sure on this, I think he used to be a Manchester United assistant manager. Or like a first team manager.
Okay. Dutch.
Let me give you his career. So he was Manchester United assistant manager. He had I'll give you his full managerial career. NEC Nijmegen, Qatar under 18s, Al Ittihad, Al Sadd, Manchester United youth, Manchester United reserves, Bromby, Manchester United first team coach, Angie Makakalaka assistant, Angie Makakalaka interim. Then he managed in the Premier League for Fulham.
Oh.
Then he went to Maccabi Haifa, then Kerala Blasters, and now he is Australia's assistant manager. Rennie Mulstein.
Oh, I even forgot he was Dutch.
Did you?
Yeah, there you go. Is that the most successful quiz I've had? Getting 7 of 8? No,
not bad, Dave.
What did I get for the French guys last week? Did I get 5 of 5? I think I might have got 5 of 5. No, I forgot your Tottenham guy, didn't I?
No,
I forgot Jacques Santini.
Jacques Santini, yeah.
Yeah. So
well done, though, Dave. You're getting better. Yeah,
we're getting there. So.
Well, I'm going to have to match you head to head versus Owen next week, but
oh my god, yeah,
we'll see how often.
Get a lightning round-esque sudden death question sorted.
Oh, we can get buzzers. We get buzzers involved. Oh, this is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be absolutely epic. So,
right, but that is the end of this week's pod, isn't it?
It is. That is the end of this week's pod, and it'll be the last. Oh, Josh, it's the last Trans-Asian Pacific podcast of 2018.
Yes, it is. And
the next 2 podcasts will be in the UK, and then I'll come back and it'll be 2019. So.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's emotional.
Well, thanks, Dave. It's been great talking to you. Some good. Different ponds to the common pond, but I'll see you.
So this has. It's a longer episode today. It's a slightly longer episode. We've had a lot to talk about. But Josh, do you have a highlight of the podcast we've done so far? I know what mine is, straight off the top of my head.
I mean, I think everyone's highlight is Michael Balzac.
Oh.
Am I right, Dave?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're totally spot on. I mean, I was listening to it back, and there's a part in that whole podcast where you tried to get the sentence out to say, you might want to go and let him know that his name is 1 letter away from Balzac. As if you want to let him know that. Oh,
yeah,
right.
Just, Michael, if you're not aware, you and your family. I'd also say I enjoyed when we were trying to get you to sample a foreigner or try out foreigner files, and it took a dodgy turn there, but that was also a highlight. So both very much cover our full repertoire of footballing analysis.
Definitely. So let us know, listeners, down below, what has been your highlight so far of the podcast. I mean, we're planning to keep in these
down below,
podcasts going.
Ball sex.
Down below.
Yeah.
We're planning to keep these podcasts going well into 2019 and keep them going as long as we can. I think Josh and I enjoy catching up and doing them, and the live ones will be great when we're all in a room together over Christmas. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. And follow us on Twitter at Football Talk. But Josh,
there's no A in football.
There's no A in football. That's where you can vote on the polls and everything as well. Go and follow us personally. Our links are in the description below if you're listening on YouTube as well. And you can hear Josh spout his nonsense about Spurs and how they're amazing. And you can probably see me doing lots of crying emojis when Man United lose every week. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, as it always is, Josh. And I've really enjoyed doing them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys when I go back to the UK. So
yeah, can't wait.
It's going to be great.
But for a very enjoyable pod.
Yeah, we'll end it there. Find us on SoundCloud and YouTube if you're ever in doubt of where to find us. SoundCloud, I think you can also download them and listen to them on the go, so you don't have to have a Wi-Fi or an internet connection to do it. So if that's something you're keen on, go and have a look at it. But I just think now, Josh, we'll just say our goodbyes and we'll be back for the Christmas specials. There's 2 of them.
Yes. Oh my goodness, we're so on trend with the Christmas specials. But yes, thank you all. Goodbye, and we'll speak to you next week.
Excellent. Cheers, guys. For now, we're out.